Alright, if you're watching this video, chances are you are in your 20s, early 20s, or possibly late teens going into your 20s. In this video, I just wanted to help people out and kind of give some advice that I wish I might have had going into my early 20s. 2025 is a very interesting time. I guess the last 5 years have been a very interesting time to kind of be in this age bracket. But here are a few things that I wanted to share with you guys today. Now, before we get into this video, it would mean a lot if you could hit the subscribe button as well as like this video and possibly share it. That'll just help me out and give me the ability to keep making videos like this one. So the first thing I wanted to share with you guys today is a book, actually. So I read this book. It's called The One Thing. Now, what is this book? This book is, if I were to put it into one word, I would call it a productivity book. How to be productive without kind of losing sight of other things. It's called The One Thing because if you find one thing that you want to dedicate your time to and be good at, chances are you're gonna end up being good at that one thing as long as other distractions and things don't come along. Because I mean, think of somebody like Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, all the greats. They did one thing and they did it really well. Now, from the book itself, there's a few things that I am gonna take away and bring to you guys. I would highly recommend you read the book, but if you don't want to read the book, I guess, here's just a few of the main takeaways that I got from it and and that I find the most valuable. First, focusing on one thing, like I mentioned earlier, that's just going to give you the ability to master one thing specifically. And along with that, our two more points would be mastery and time blocking. So when you're focusing on one thing, that just gives you the ability to master that one thing. And then there is time blocking. What is time blocking? So time blocking is kind of planning in a way. It is blocking out time in your day and your week and your month to dedicate to that one thing. And that should be your number one priority over pretty much everything else. So the next one is kind of a series of thoughts with the base question of what I can do. So picture where you want to be in 5 years, and then what goals do you need to reach year after year to get there in 5 years? What goals you need to reach month to month to make sure your year is successful? What goals do you need to reach week after week to make sure your month is successful? What goals do you need to reach day after day to make sure your days are successful? So when you wake up, you need to think, what can I do today to make sure that my day is successful, which means your week will be, your month will be, your year will be, and then that will ensure that in 5 years, if you took every step to making your day as productive as possible, focusing on your one thing, you're gonna get to where you want to be. Next would be accountability. There are some circumstances in which, you can't really be accountable for things that happen to you, say like a car accident or somebody passing away, things like that. But most of the time, your downfalls, your pitfalls, your problems are usually coming from yourself. So being able to hold yourself accountable for those things is going to be one of the first steps towards making a change to getting where you need to be. Next, I would say distraction undermines results. So this right here, your phone, is going to be the biggest distraction in people's lives. I mean, just check your screen time. If you haven't in a while, I guarantee you it's more than you think. You might sit down to try and do something productive on your computer and you just end up scrolling mindlessly on your phone. That's just a distraction, and that is hours and hours and hours every week and every month that could have been dedicated to actually getting somewhere. Next is a pretty simple one. It's just don't fear failure, because you don't know what you're capable of unless you try, and you don't know if you're going to fail unless you try. You might fail, fine, but if you fail, you're learning something. So sometimes failure is more important than success anyways, because it gives you the opportunity to learn something and grow from it. So do not be afraid to fail. Next would be start small. So what I mean by that is don't think small, have a really, really big goal. So for me, I had a goal this year of reaching a really high subscriber amount on YouTube. And say my goal was half of that. Well, then I'd only be shooting for half of that. And then if I fall short of that, I'm falling way short of what could have been if I set my goal even higher. But in terms of your day-to-day life, set small goals every single day and they'll become habits. But don't limit yourself, I guess, for bigger goals, but keep your first set of goals, your first kind of more habitual goals small so they're achievable. And that way it's a snowball effect or a domino effect into a more productive lifestyle in which those bigger goals are going to come faster than you think. And last from the book would be prioritize your one thing. So for right now, your one thing, let's just say, is to make $100,000 this year. Let's say that's your one thing. Prioritize that. Make that your one thing. Time block. Create time in your day that's going to allow you to do that. Don't let distractions get in your way. Set your small goals. And after creating new habits, really understanding why you want that one thing, and day after day after day of making sure you stick to prioritizing that one thing, even if you fail, you got a lot closer than you did if you didn't try in the first place.
She just wants to see that. She's like, I'm on camera.
What is it?
She says, I'm on camera.
What is it? Happy Mother's Day. What is that? Want a treat?
Put it in there.
Here you go. Okay. Take it. Take it.
Eat it.
She's just gonna lick it to death. So next is gonna be some of my advice. I'm 23, so I've been in my 20s for 3.5 years now, which I know isn't a lot, but what I've learned in 3 years is a lot. I would say probably more than a lot of other people. So the first thing I want to say is don't be selfish. I was very selfish in my late teen years to my early 20 years, and it did nothing but bad for me. Don't regret your past. I don't regret my past because it gets you to where you are. It got me to where I am. But if I were to give myself advice as a 20-year-old, it would be don't be selfish. The second thing I would say is figure out what you want. I didn't know what I wanted. I still kind of don't know what I want, but I have a much better idea. So for the last 3 years, I just kind of aimlessly went through my days, through my months, through my years, and it just felt like I didn't have a direction. And now it feels like I just wasted those 3 years, but it's hard to say that's true because, I mean, I am where I am, so I can't say anything was ever wasted, but find out what you want to do and find a direction. Next would be to mature as fast as possible. If you are still kind of relying on your parents or kind of don't really have any responsibilities, You go out and do stuff with friends every night, every weekend. You don't get your work done, anything, just stuff like that. Anything along the lines of not being mature, get rid of it. Mature as fast as you can. I'm not saying don't enjoy your younger years, but become an adult, a real adult, and mature faster. It's only gonna benefit you in the long run. And again, I'm not saying don't like live while you're young. I mean, that's important too, but find a balance of how you can manage both of those things. Next would be, don't be a people pleaser. I never have been. I've always done things for myself. But I've seen what happens when other people become people pleasers. And it's kind of sad. They never really do what they want to do. They never really take control of their own lives or themselves. So prioritize yourself. Please yourself first. Be your first priority. And don't let other people tell you what to do or influence what you do. To an extent, if somebody's trying to help you out with something or be like a mentor, let them influence you, learn from things. But don't be a people pleaser. Live for yourself. You come first. And the next thing I would say, life happens. Like, stuff just happens, and you're just gonna have to learn to deal with it. And the older you get, the easier it is. Things that you might be positive of or you're 100% sure of can change like this. Like, life happens. Things can change, and that's okay. That's the way life goes. But you need to be accepting of that fact and kind of almost plan for that as well. The next thing is you're going to mess up. A better word for that would be an F word, but I'm trying to keep this video as clean as possible. You're gonna mess up. I messed up a lot and really bad. And you might too. Maybe you don't. That's great. But if you do, again, life happens. You just gotta learn from it. You gotta move on and let it change you. Change is a good thing. If you're still the same person you were in high school and you're, let's say, 23 now, you're gonna get stuck. You're not changing and you're being stagnant, and you need to grow. You need to grow up. You need to move on. But yeah, you're gonna mess up, and that's okay. That's what these years are for. And it's only okay if you learn from it. If you're making the same mistake over and over and over again, that's just not good. At some point, you're gonna need to snap out of it and realize that you need to learn from your mistakes and move on. And in the end, that's just gonna make you a better person as well. And also learn from other people's mistakes. That's a huge one. Learn from other people's mistakes and learn from other people's successes. And don't be jealous of people's success. If there's somebody you know who's highly successful and you're jealous of them, you got the wrong mindset. Go learn from them. Go ask them how they figured out what they wanted to do, why they're successful at it. Maybe they have a one thing that they're prioritizing. That is it for now. If you like this video, make sure you leave a comment and let me know. If there's somebody who might find this video helpful, make sure you send this to them. But leave a like and make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Deuces.